Welcome to Charts Today, US Open. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 14th of November, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. CPI data just out, and the dollar actually sitting fairly steady on that. The euro actually strengthened a little bit against the dollar yesterday, but what's interesting is we've got these new targets. We've got a new downside target of 107 against the dollar, not yet activated. New lows would activate that. Against the yen, we're seeing the dollar bullish on all three time frames still. And against sterling, sterling just struggling to move into bullish territory. It rose yesterday on Brexit deal announcement, but it hasn't yet managed to really make the transition. Sterling looking better against the euro, and we've got upside potential of some fixed 6 to 7, 8% there, so looking strong there. And against the Swiss franc, sterling falling back today, so we are just seeing some reality returning on the news of Brexit deal. And sterling against the Australian dollar also lower. Bitcoin down 1.5%, looking bearish all the time. Just still that $6,000 level looks set to crack eventually. We tested in August, September and October a little bit. We saw lows there. We haven't broken yet, but still looks pretty worrying. The US market, we see the Dow down is up 1/3%. So we are seeing a little bit of a relief rally in the US market, and we're seeing the E-mini future up over 0.5%, and the Nasdaq E-mini up 0.8%. Looking at the FTSE 100, it's up just over 2/3% in the UK. Still struggling to really make any territory here, and no true upside targets. Looking at the FTSE 250, we see here we are looking a little bit stronger and maybe just finding some short-term support. So just things looking a little bit better there. And the DAX actually up 2/3% and just starting to move into short-term bullish territory. The CAC Quarante up 0.5% and has held its short-term bull trend pretty much for the last week or so. We saw in Asia most markets were down. Brent crude is up about 2%, but that's no respite after yesterday's 7% fall, and WTI up 1.5%. But again, looking very bearish on the chart. No clear downside targets here. Keep an eye on the 1-minute chart if you are trading crude oil. US Natgas just forges another 7% higher, $4.39. So we're really seeing volatility in the price there. So it really has rocketed. And gold is just struggling at the $1,200 mark. Silver also lower. And US 10-year yields also just sitting steady at 3.16%. Taking a look at stocks, we see most of the US indices are up. The S&P is up just under 1%. The Nasdaq up now 1.2%. This data all coming from Yahoo Finance, by the way, and Dow Jones up 2/3%. Taking a look at the Nasdaq, we've got stocks like Alphabet up 1.4%, Amazon up 1.7%. Apple putting in a less good recovery up, less than the market, up at just 0.9%, and Facebook actually up 1.4%. But still, all these charts, short-term bearish. Facebook is actually bearish on all three time frames now. And taking a look at some of the other majors, Microsoft up just under 2/3%, Netflix up 1%, and Tesla up 2%, so bucking the trend there. Still looking one of the better looking charts. Having had a tough few months, Tesla's actually showing through, looking quite strong. Looking at the UK market, just we're seeing here Micro Focus up 8%, Smith's Group up 7%, so we are seeing some quite good moves there. BCA Marketplace up 7%, and the Euro stocks, we've got Iliad up in Paris up 10%, but still a terrible downtrend there, so no big changes. Over in Wall Street again, just taking a look at the Dow, you see Nike up just under 3%. Caterpillar up 2%. A lot of the Dow stocks, just the defensive plays looking a little bit better, but we still do have some pretty bearish looking charts here. Caterpillar not looking great, and long term has been breaking down into a downtrend. And on the S&P 500, we've got Handelsbanks up 4.5%. Just looking to the other end of the scale, we've got PG&E Corporation, which has been very heavily hit in California by the wildfires. So we're seeing price just absolutely collapsing, halving basically. And another utility, Edison, we saw also lower. So here we're seeing having fallen quite heavily again the last few days. So we are seeing still some quite big falls in the market, and by no means is the recovery fully assured yet. So we've just got to keep an eye on these indices to breaking to new highs and key resistance levels. That Nasdaq 100 level is really, we do need to start seeing some higher highs. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.